based on what the country has to do now, not simply appease people.
What do you think of this assessment? I mean, you have the coup from 91 to 94 that Juan and I both covered in Haiti, a time when you had the leaders, particularly among them Emmanuel Constant, the paramilitary leader, supported by the U.S. government, by the CIA, by the DIA. It's one of the reasons that James Woolsey was forced out as Director of Central Intelligence, that this guy, Emmanuel Constant, was on the payroll of the intelligence agencies in this country, and that the only way they would allow Aristide to return, he had been elected in a landslide as a popular priest, was if he gave up his populist platform, like increasing the minimum wage, one of the first things he ever did. And so when he returned in a U.S. military jet, everything changed. And that we now leap forward 10 years. And the question is, whose agenda is he serving now? Do we see a return to what he first campaigned on when he first became president, or do we see something very different that the Western community will accept, but that is not very good for Haiti?
Well, I'm not sure. I think Aristide is really caught between a rock and a hard place, and that he is trying to follow or to use his populist roots to remain as popular as possible, but at the same time, and that leads them, to sort of say, I'm not going to be a U.S. puppet. I'm not going to be the puppet of France or the international community. I'm just going to be my own man. But at the same time, is not delivering on the goods with respect to what the Haitian people themselves are expecting. And they're expecting, I personally expected there would be more freedoms in Haiti today. And unfortunately, those freedoms don't exist. Now, going back to what happened in 1991 to the period 1991-1994, it was obvious that when Aristide was elected back in 1990, even though he was elected through a free and fair election, which I personally witnessed and observed, and one of the greatest scenes that I will always remember is the scene of elderly citizens, Haitians who were invalid, who stood in line for hours to use the ballot and speak their mind. And that is something that has remained with me for quite a long time, and that is why I'm still in that struggle for these people who did it. But very quickly, part of the reason why Aristide was, why the military was able to move against Aristide, is that back in 1991, he had begun to lose the support of the people who voted him into office. So which created the opportunity for the military to move in without much opposition to the coup d'etat. Even though basically once people woke up and said, well, these guys have taken away our freedom.
Well, if I could interrupt you for a second, is it that the lack of public support made it possible for the coup d'etat to occur, or is it that a lesson that Latin America has learned often, that you can't make revolution by the ballot box? That in essence what happens is what happened to Allende in Chile, what's happened to some degree to Chavez right now. The only difference between Chavez is that he's got a military background and he's got military backing, but that you can't make a real social revolution by a ballot box, because eventually the forces of reaction come down on you, and if you don't have a counterforce, an organized counterforce, whether it's military or organized political party, you are going to be overthrown, or you are going to be crushed initially.
And one I would agree with you. In fact, that's what I'm pointing out. There was not an organized counterpoint. There was not an organized political party. In other words, part of what happened here is that once Aristide became president, power became personal. It was no longer a structured the situation that allowed it to happen.
Well, I want to thank you, Johnny McCullough, for joining us, Executive Director of the National Coalition for Haitian Rights, and Kim Ives in Port-au-Prince right now, editor of Haiti Progrès. When we come back from our break, we're going to another anniversary.